Good evening. Y'all can just raise your hand if you can hear me and see me clearly. Okay, great. I'm seeing many hands, so which means you can hear me clearly. Thank you all for joining this webinar. As you all know, this webinar addresses something that's very important, yet sometimes might seem like something that we cannot achieve. Time management. So I will first introduce myself. My name is Susan Alexander, and I am the Senior Learning Specialist at Biocon Academy. So what I do at Biocon Academy would be to train students on how to be professionally, adequate, effective. So you have teamwork, we have conflict resolution, we have communication. Time management is one of the topics that we discuss. So I can see that we have about, let me see how many people have joined so far. We have 17 people, which is great because time management is usually one of those topics which we think we can do very well, but somehow end up having been confused about. So again, I'll go back to my introduction. I told you that I take care of the professional skills. I've been in the teaching profession for about 10 years now. I started off as a French teacher, which is also based on communication. So then I moved into corporate training and professional skill training, which is how you find me over here. And I'm very happy to be a part of this webinar. And I really hope this helps at least some of you, to manage your schedules better. Okay, so I think it's time to start. This is going to be an interactive session in the sense you can send your responses in the chat box. And point being, we've heard so many different advice, so many different techniques given for time management. So a little bit of interaction will also help us understand what are the challenges that we face when we have to manage our time effectively. All right, so we're going to start. Let me just share the screen. Okay. Yes. Again, give me a hands up. Geeta, Ravi, I see your hands up. I don't know if it's from before or right now. If you have any questions, please send it in the chat box and I will address it. The hands up right now is for the presentation. Yes. Just give me a minute. 1 second. It's taking just about a minute to load. Yes. Okay. So I think we're good to go. Yes. So as I discussed, it's time management. We are going to have some interactions. You all can interact with me on the through the chat box. Yes. So my first question to all of you is going to be, why did you all think it's important to attend this webinar that's based on time management? I will take a couple of answers. So we will wait for your answers. Like I said, there is some amount of interaction that is required. Time is valuable. Exactly. Dharani, I don't think we will be giving you any certification by the end of this webinar, but you definitely will walk away with a lot of learning if that answers your question. Because to manage time, to do multiple work in limited time. Exactly. Yes, Ramesh. That's exactly what it is. So, the biggest challenge for us is not knowing maybe how to manage our time. So definitely some techniques will help us do that. We will be talking about a couple of techniques over here. Obviously there are a lot of techniques. You have to see what works best for you. Having a lot to do, but then end up doing nothing. Yes, that's one of the biggest problems, really. So that brings me to the next question. For this, also, I want you all to send responses. What is the biggest challenge that we face when it comes to not managing our time effectively? Whatever procrastination. Yes, someone's directly gone to the main problem, procrastinate, losing knowledge. Losing knowledge about a little bit more, detail would help me understand this a little better. So losing knowledge, getting involved only on one task and failing to give sufficient time for the other. Yes, that also is really a problem. And all, if you notice, all these reasons sort of are, depend on each other. If you don't do one properly, the other thing gets impacted and it influences each other, which is why we have to make sure that everything is sorted. But the one thing that I want you all to realize is in order to manage our time well, I'm sorry, I will just take this. Vijay Kumar has said updating skills is important when you have time. Yes, exactly. When there is the time, we need to update our skills, upskilling, as we call it, right? But only problem is the upskilling also sort of takes more time out of your existing time and it feels like there is absolutely no time. So what we will discuss, I was talking about growth mindset. Now, growth mindset, again, I'll take an answer or two. What do we understand from growth mindset? And which I think most of you already have it because the fact that you all are in this presentation, in this webinar itself shows that you do have the growth mindset. It just needs to be tweaked a little bit, getting better than today. Dharini, at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A. So if your questions are not related to what we're talking about currently, I would request you to hold the questions for the end of the presentation. That will be great. Thank you. So yes. So as I was saying, growth mindset. There is someone productive thinking better than getting better than today. Yes. So growth mindset requires a lot of mental strength, a lot of mental and positive mindset also. Exactly. So a lot of people may not identify that time management is a problem. They're just rushed all the time. They're just like, no, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. 24 hours in a day is not enough. I don't get enough sleep. I just get, 4 hours of sleep per day. In spite of that, I still have deadlines that I can't achieve, or different things like that. So what we're going to see today is just understanding what might be the problem and couple of techniques, doable realistic techniques that won't take too much of your time. It'll build a habit. Maybe in a month or two it'll help you manage your time better. That's the goal of this webinar. So let's move. Yes. Yes. So this is what we discussed now. Does this sound familiar as in what we're talking about below that? Many professionals end their day feeling exhausted and overwhelmed, unsure about what they accomplished. Now put up your hands if you think this happens to you. Or just send me a yes in the chat box. That would be better. Just send me a yes if you end the day feeling exhausted and overwhelmed, and still you feel like, no, I have still so much to finish. Yes, I see one hand up. Yes, yes. A lot of people, yes. So that is what we're trying to address over here, right? The fact that you feel like you have accomplished something by the end of the day is what we are aiming at over here. So constantly switching tasks and saying yes can lead to burnout and inefficiency. This is a problem, especially when we talk about Indians, right? Saying no is not seen as a good trait to have. Most of us think if I say no right now, then I'm losing out on opportunities. Maybe the impression that I have created might get tarnished if I say no to something that comes up, right? So let's just discuss. We will soon discuss as to how to manage such situations. Yes. So the real Mostly by the end of the day, I'm sure we go to bed thinking, oh my God, I couldn't complete this task. I'm just lazy. How to get rid of this laziness? Why do I procrastinate? So there are, obviously, this doesn't cover all the reasons, but there are some reasons over here, right? If you do have any questions, you can send it in the chat box. So I will see it over here. Yes, the real problem, it's not laziness. The first one, priority confusion. Now, priority confusion is sometimes when there is confusion as to what task needs to be done first. Say you have 5 tasks to do, and then in the morning you wake up and you think, oh my God, I need to do this task one, task two, task three. I Then you feel overwhelmed and you're like, no, no, I don't have the time to complete it. How am I going to do it? And then that leads to anxiety and building stress because you feel like you don't have enough time. Even though you have 12 hours maybe of the working day, it still feels like you don't have enough time. And that could be because of priority confusion. Second one, constant interruptions. Now, especially when we're in office, or say even if you're working from home, you'll have continuous interruptions. Maybe a colleague who wants some help, maybe a meeting that will happen in the middle of your work time. Someone calls you to ask you some doubt. Someone calls you to ask you updates about your any deadlines that you have tasks. So these constant interruptions, what happens? It breaks the flow of your work. And because of this, you feel like you're constantly doing the job, but it's just not getting over. So that's another reason. The third one, no planning system. So this is directly linked to growth mindset. Planning is very, very important if you decide to manage your time well. We will talk about how we can plan things a little easily. Planning now is a very broad term. There are so many different ways to plan. You're probably already planning how to do things. But a technique, knowing some guidance as to how to plan, will help you manage your time better. The last one, like I mentioned earlier, us Indians, I'm also including myself, we have a problem with saying no. We tend to overcommit. Overcommit is also saying yes to things that you may not be able to give your your 100% to. So it's important to identify what you can do at your best potential and what will eat out of your time, and whatever tasks that you have prioritized, what is coming and hindering that activity. So all that will help you to understand where to say no, where to say yes, and not overcommit. Yes, moving on. Yes, everything. Now send me a yes if it feels like everything is urgent. Like I had mentioned initially in this webinar, everything is just so fast paced. You have a meeting, you have this, you have to get home and do this, you have to meet a friend, you have 10 meetings lined up. Everything seems a bit urgent, right? Yes. So I got two yeses. So I'm guessing the majority agrees to this. Yes, not that I want you all to agree, but then I just want to understand what exactly y'all are dealing with, right? Everything feels urgent. The last point, we need to recognize this pattern and develop strategies to regain control. over our time. That's exactly what we're doing over here. We're trying to regain control of the time that we have. We have 24 hours. It's important to understand that we have 12 working hours within which we can complete tasks. How can we effectively use it so we're doing our best in our professional setting, in our personal setting, and also the me time that people talk about? How can we squeeze that in? A lot of people say, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to upskill, like someone had mentioned. How do we use the 12 hours effectively so we can do all these things without stressing about it? Yes, moving on. Yes. Why do we need time management? Now, there are, what you all have already said, there are a couple of points that we can discuss right now. Sorry about that. Yes. Someone had mentioned this initially. Time is limited. Limited as in it has limits. Like I said, we have 12 to 16 hours where we are ready to put in work, right? Poor planning quickly means the day feels too short. So, this is what I had mentioned earlier also. Some amount of planning is required. If you can't plan for the entire month, planning the previous day on a Sunday evening would be the best possible planning that you could do. Why? Can someone tell me why is planning on Sunday evening the best situation or best solution to managing your time? By planning on a Sunday evening. Exactly. Start of the week. That's one reason. Any other responses? Yes. Next whole week to go smoothly. So, exactly because it's the start of the week. So, 5 days you sort of have planned. So, that will help the week go smoothly. Definitely, that's one reason. There is one more reason that I want you all to think how it can trick your mind. These are reasons that, yeah, these techniques help and things like that. But how can you trick your mind on a Sunday evening, planning on a Sunday evening for the rest of the week? Okay. So, it's quite simple, honestly. Sometimes, not sometimes, every time when we start our day on Monday morning, it definitely takes half an hour to 1 hour to get into the rhythm of the week. So that takes some time. Say your working day starts at 8:30. You actually start working by 9:30, 10 on a Monday morning, which is why we have the Monday blues. If you smartly start on Sunday evening, you've already got into the rhythm of it. So once you get into the rhythm of it, Monday won't seem as overwhelming as it might seem when you go to bed on Sunday night thinking, oh no, tomorrow is Monday, the week is going to start. But if you trick your brain and start it on Sunday evening, even 15 minutes to half an hour is more than enough. This time you can use to plan the week, number one, and also to trick your mind, saying that the week has already started, so Monday is not as bad. Yes, that's what I wanted to discuss. Moving on to the next point. Managing your time helps you achieve more with less effort by maintaining focus and momentum. Now, like everything else, like working out, like following a diet regime, this also requires momentum, which means if you start something, say on Sunday evening, you've already started it with a you've started it with a fast paced momentum, right? So now all you have to do is make sure that the rest of the week you manage this momentum and you continue to do things. You are a well oiled machine, so everything works fine. So it starts, your week actually starts on Sunday night not Monday morning. That this very small tweak will help you a lot to manage your week. Moving on, like we discussed, reduces pressure, better decisions. Now, if you all notice, people want employees who are good decision makers. Now, good decision making can happen if your mind has some space, some clarity. Now, this will happen if your tasks are completed on time or if you can manage it. There is no pressure towards the end. So, everything, like I said, influences each other. So it's a step by step process. So if you do step one, all the other steps will fall in place. If you don't do step one, then it might be a little difficult to make sure the other steps fall in place. Managing your time means managing your life. Definitely, because we work 5 days a week and then we also have our personal commitments. So it sort of is your life, right? If you can manage your time, then your life is sorted. Everything it won't give you stress basically. There's no pressure, there's no stress if you can manage your time properly. And that's the key to having a smooth life. If I were to say life is a very broad term, but you get it. Very, very important. Now, when you have time, when there's a lack of stress, when there's a lack of pressure, the quality of your output of work will be much, much better because now you have some space to think. You're not worried. You're not worried about completing the task. Probably you're only focusing on how to do it best. And that is what we need. With good time management, you will be able to do your best at the given task and not just complete it. There's a difference between just completing a task and doing it, giving it your best. We want to give it our best, whatever task we do. Yes. Time management helps you prioritize what matters most. Now, say I have 3 deadlines in the coming week, and I choose deadline number 3 because I've already started the process and I put in my everything and I complete it. But then I forget that deadline 1 comes first and not deadline 3. What happens? You just want to complete deadline 1 now. You don't want to give it your best. Deadline 3, you probably gave your best because that's what you started first. All this happens because you haven't prioritized. Priority means you would have heard priority customers, priority flyers when it comes to aircrafts, right? Or, air travel. So priority means most important, right? And prioritizing our tasks is very, very important. When can you prioritize your tasks? Beginning of the week on Sunday evening. Like I mentioned, Sunday evening, you prioritize your weekly tasks. This needs to come first, this needs to come second, this needs to come third. And once you prioritize, it makes it a little easier. We can see how to easily prioritize. We'll soon come to it. Yes, when you control your time well, you grow faster. And again, like someone mentioned, you can upskill, you will know how to manage your time, and you can use your time very effectively. That's what this point talks about. Like I mentioned earlier, poor time management causes stress, reduces panic, and so planning reduces panic and creates space for rest. Suddenly, you won't feel very overwhelmed, and you will feel like time has increased when you plan and prioritize. Very, very important. I was talking about growth mindset. Now, for growth mindset, the most important factor would be discipline. If we have our discipline sorted, everything else will fall into place. So that's what reduces procrastination. Okay, now since we're talking about procrastination, I want you all to give me reasons why do we procrastinate? Just give me a one word answer for it. Why do we procrastinate? Laziness? Yes. We give priority to every work and week, that's good. But if we get any work in between that week, we are not planned for that, then what about that? I'll come back to you this question because I think we will address it in the later parts of the webinar. High stakes, avoid failure, high stakes. So that could lead to procrastination. So one thing that connects all these points is the fact that is how we perceive it, right? Sometimes it's high stakes and then you're just putting it, most often people say being a perfectionist is what holds you back from achieving the best. It's such a something that is doesn't make sense because being a perfectionist is a good thing, but how can it hold you back? How can it be the reason for your procrastination, right? So we'll see. We'll see what we have. Okay. Procrastination is something that is not because of laziness. That is something I want to clarify. It could seem like it's because of laziness, but then you have to question why are you feeling lazy about this? There is a reason why you feel lazy about certain things. For everything to work well, one thing is very important: self awareness. If you know why you're doing what you're doing, then it's easier to tweak it, resolve it, or make it better, right? So understand why are you feeling lazy? Lazy is just something that's what we say. We understand it. So we say, oh, I was just lazy, so I didn't do it today. I was just scrolling on reels and suddenly 1 hour became 3 hours, right? But there is a reason why you not interesting work. Fair. I mean, the work is not interesting, so you're like, okay, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. So we will come to this three-layer priority rule explain, which is very simple. But I would like to give you all another technique. Now, obviously, this webinar does not cover all time management techniques because there are plenty. The reason why we have so many time management techniques is because each person functions differently. So whatever works for you, whatever gives you maximum effectiveness and efficiency, you will choose that. I will just talk about a couple of techniques. Okay, the first one is your biological clock. Now, understanding your biological clock, that is one of the time management hacks. When are you most productive? For some people, it's after 9 o'clock in the night. For some people, it's as soon as they wake up, maybe 4 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning. What you should do is the tasks that you find yourself procrastinating, those tasks can be completed in this time because you are most productive in this time. Now, in order to find out when you're most productive, you have to be self-aware. All that comes, with growth mindset, being self-aware and things like that. So biological clock and understanding that is understanding when exactly is you are most productive. So you can do the task that you have been procrastinating at that time. Also, that brings me to another technique, which is called eat that frog, which means finish off the task that you have been putting aside. Once you finish that off, number one, you gain momentum to complete tasks. Number two, you're done with that task. So you have little bit space in your thinking and mind. So you can continue doing the other tasks and you won't fall short of time. Okay, now let's come back to this, the three-layer priority rule. So it's very simple. Okay, there are three layers when it comes to priority. Layer one is what needs to be done today. It's a non-negotiable. What should I complete today? I can't go to the end of the day thinking, oh no, I couldn't complete it. That needs to be finished first. That'll be in layer one. Layer two is finish important tasks that need attention. So this is not as urgent as layer one, but something that needs to be completed in the same day. That comes with layer two. Layer three is what is it that if I do will make my life easier for later. I have the time for it. Okay. So, oh, I'm so sorry. So that is what we have to, yes, yes. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So we have to understand the different layers. Now, this method will help us reduce our procrastination, help us in planning, and also understand our priorities better. And this is quite simple. There are many different techniques to understand your priorities better. But this is the easiest, which is why I have chosen this. You also have another technique called Eisenhower matrix, which gives you four different quadrants to again prioritize. This one is straightforward. This is what you can use on the Sunday evening before your week starts, so that you'll know this is priority one, this is two, this is three, this is what I need to work on. That clarity on what you need to work on will give you a lot of relaxation, because you know exactly where to divert your energy, time, and it won't cause too much stress. So this three-layer priority rule is very, very effective. Yes, focus reality. Now, another thing in the times that we live right now, what happens is we have the phone to distract us. And if you notice, when we were doing exams in school, studying for exams, we would always want to go to the toilet, take a toilet break, or suddenly feel hungry, go for snacks immediately. No, I want to find this. Suddenly what your parents say, what your mom asked you, can you do this, that time you'll want to do it, because you, again, that's a form of procrastination, because studying is not very interesting for a lot of people, right? So identifying, number one is identifying that you are actually procrastinating and you're not feeling productive by finishing some other task, right? And the 90-minute focus block. Now 90 minutes is 1.5 hours. Now you have already prioritized on Sunday evening what you need to complete for the week, right? Now, in those priorities, we will work more on it. Priority one, if it probably takes 3 to 4 hours, we have two ways of estimating time. One is overestimating, which personally I think is better than underestimating. You think it takes 1 hour to complete a task, and then it actually only takes half an hour. That is overestimating. You still have half an hour, so you're peaceful, you're calm, you're relaxed, everything. That works. Overestimation. Now, underestimation, what happens? It takes 1 hour, you think it takes only half an hour. So now, according to your mental plan, what happens is you have one half an hour overdue. As in, you did not plan for that extra half an hour. So now you're stressing. You're just like, no, I need to complete my tasks right now. I don't care about the quality that I'm, producing over here. All I need to do is complete the task. So make sure your estimation is never underestimation. It's for that you need to know how you function, how long you take for particular tasks, how long you would require to complete a task. Again, I'm reminding you which you all made on Sunday evening, right, for the week. So the 90-minute block is keeping aside 1.5 hours for each task. In those 1.5 hours, you have to cut off all kinds of distractions, be in a place that does not have any other distractions. Maybe your phone aside, don't answer calls that time. If you notice, people who are extremely successful will not give up their time. Time is their most important asset. So you have to mentally prepare and see your time as a very, very important asset that you have. The best part about time, unlike money or intelligence, is that everyone has the same amount. We all have 24 hours. So clearly, what matters away is how you use those 24 hours. If you really want to complete a task, 90 minutes really works all the time. In those 90 minutes, no distractions. You won't get up to, answer somebody else. You will avoid all kinds of distractions, and you will only focus on completing the given task. You cannot allow yourself to get up before 90 minutes unless you overestimated and you finished the task. But 90 minutes is the most ideal time, right? This brings me to another technique. It's called Pomodoro technique. Can someone tell me what Pomodoro means? It's not our language, it's Italian. Can someone tell me what they think Pomodoro is? It's the name of another technique, which I will explain soon. Exactly. See, we already have people who have the growth mindset. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Shia says 25 minutes focus, 5 minutes break. So now I was talking about 90-minute focus block, But you also have the Pomodoro technique, which is you have one task and you split it into four parts, 25 minutes each, with 5 minutes of break in between. So that would be 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes. And by the end of it, when you complete the four sections, the four parts, you take a good half an hour break. And if you need to, continue it again. Now, one challenge with this is that not many people function well when there is a break every 25 minutes, which is why for people who don't see it working for them, the 90-minute works. So 90 minutes, you don't have any distractions. You can complete your task and then take a good long break. Otherwise, if you are someone who needs to, break every 25 minutes, then you can try the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, four times. After that, a long half an hour break. This usually works. Whatever suits you. 90 minutes or 25 minutes. Yeah, we'll discuss this. I spoke about this, the yes trap. We don't know how to say no. These are some of the reasons why we overcommit. First one is we want to impress. We want everyone else to think that, yes, I'm always available to this. Yes, I definitely can do this. Of course, I have a lot on my plate, but I can do this also, not a problem. When we overcome it, what happens? We're sort of not giving importance to our time, and most importantly, not giving importance to the deadlines that we already have committed to, right? So, first reason is trying to impress. Second reason, fear of saying no. Back to the point that I made, as Indians, saying no is looked down upon. It's not always bad to say no, provided you are not at a loss, right? Third one, no boundary skills. Now, creating boundaries is a very, very, very important aspect that we should focus on, and not just time management, even when it comes to team efforts, conflict resolution, general communication, and peace of mind for yourself. Boundaries are very important. What is boundaries? So that people know that maybe you're working on a task and you won't always be available to resolve their problems. At work, it's very common, right? Even you probably go and ask other people for help. Other people come and ask you for help. How do we deal with this situation? Having boundaries. When you're in the middle of a task, say a very important task, and you have given yourself that day to complete it, someone comes up, you can very politely say, I will come back to you. I'm just on a task right now. I will finish this and come back to you. You don't feel bad. You are not at a loss. Even the other person won't feel bad because you've been quite clear about what you are going through, right? They won't think that, oh, you know what, she has too much attitude. She won't come to help. She is always busy. That's not what we are trying to convey, right? We are trying to convey that you're on something and you don't want to break the flow of that task, which is why you can't help at the moment, but you will come back to it. It's not like you don't want to help at all. So, this is how it's a nice way to say no sometimes. Yes. Another technique would be a delayed response. Now, if someone comes and says, XYZ, you need to complete this. We have to get, on a meeting in half an hour, and you are in the middle of a task. And, and so, or not even a meeting. We need to complete this discussion or something like that. How do you not get out of it, manage it with your time? Delayed responses is one way. Instead of immediately saying yes or no without giving it a thought, if you say, you can take a delayed response, take some time. You can say, let me check my deadlines and confirm. Now, here also clear from your side, they also know that you are doing something that's effective for you and your team. So don't always give an immediate response. I know this may not work always. Some things are urgent, some things are very important, like someone said, high stakes, right? But don't always commit without considering your own schedule. Take 2 minutes also. See, can I do this? And then you commit for it. If you can't commit, if you can't say yes, then say Try to reach a middle ground. What works for you? What works for the other party also? When can we do this? Because I want to do it as well. Only thing is, I'm pressed for time. So when can we do it? Let's solve problems. This is another thing people look for in employees. Good problem solving skills, right? You can't just sit there saying that, oh, I just don't have the time. I don't think I'll be able to do it. Instead, you can say, let's work on it. But when is it best for you? When is it best for me? Right now, I'm not able to give you an answer because I have a lot of things on my plate. But we can discuss and see what works good best for both of us. So the output is best. It all depends on the way you communicate it. Sometimes the stress on your face will show, right? Oh, I have so many things on my plate. I don't think I can do it. Let's try to avoid that. Okay, let's try to work in our best potential. Okay, okay. This is what I was talking about. If someone gives you a task and you have enough on your plate, one easy way to say it is, I can do this by Thursday. If you want it today, then I'll need some help and support. This is how you are trying to, reach middle ground with the other party as well. And you're not just saying a no. This shows that you have growth mindset and you also want to work. The result that you want is the same as what the other party wants. Y'all are just trying to find a solution or a situation that works best for you and the other party that's involved. Okay. So one easy way to say it is, I can do this by Thursday, knowing your schedule. But if you need it by today, I will need some support and go on. And then from there, the conversation flows, right? Yes. Daily panic versus weekly planning. So this is again what I had mentioned earlier. You know, Sunday evening is when your week starts, not Monday morning, right? Since we discussed this, plan your week in 20 minutes. We'll quickly take a look at it. List your deadlines, review meetings, as in whatever you have planned, whatever is probably a month long, you have review meetings to know that everything is going according to plan. So you will review and say, okay, what is the update over here? What needs time? Do I need to give in more time here? Do I need to plan my week accordingly to give it more time? All this will happen in the review meetings. Presentations. So plan for the upcoming presentation. So this basically review meeting, it's the same thing. Follow-ups. Again, in the review meeting, you'll understand where you need to follow up. You probably set a deadline for that as well, right? Be realistic. Now, to be realistic, you need to be self-aware. You need to estimate your time properly. Again, no underestimation, always overestimation helps, right? Prioritize task, what we had discussed, review and adjust. Again, we discussed all this. All this has been discussed. So now let's just quickly go through what we discussed right now. We discussed a lot of techniques. So let's narrow it down to what is realistic and what is achievable. Three-layer priorities, what you need to do today, what you need to do as soon as possible, and what, if you do, will help you for the rest of the week. That's the three layers of priorities that you will set for yourself for the week on Sunday evening. 90-minute focus, like we just discussed. Meeting filters, understanding if a meeting is really important or it can be discussed over a email. So asking, so what is the agenda of the meeting? Do I really need to be a part of this meeting? This again is not for you to say no, just to understand what the agenda of the meeting is. This is very important because sometimes some meetings we are not required to be there. So this will also help the person who is holding the meeting understand that maybe it's not something that you need to be a part of. It will save you a lot of time. So ask before you go for a meeting or commit to a meeting if it's necessary or it's something that you can miss. Okay, now I want you all to say what is one change that you will implement from tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. So it's perfect timing, it's the beginning of the next week also. So just give me one change that you will implement from tomorrow or Sunday onwards. The reason why I'm asking is another thing with time management, accountability. You need to be accountable. Accountable as in you promised yourself that you will plan on Sunday evening. You have to be accountable to yourself and plan on Sunday evening and continue doing it for a month or two, and it'll become a habit. That is our goal. Prioritize tasks, stay consistent. Exactly. Prioritizing tasks. We, yes, Ramesh, exactly what Sumedha also said. Plan for the entire week on Sunday. Start with a small task on Sunday. Exactly. Starting with a small task on Sunday will avoid you getting stressed out on Monday morning. Sunday evening, you have some clarity as to how the week is going to proceed. Jivita says, planning next week tasks. Every night I will plan the tomorrow activities, but every Sunday list out the activities and plans. Exactly, Vijay Kumar. That's exactly what it is. It might seem like a very small, change, starting to prioritize or plan your tasks on Sunday evening. But the output, the impact it will have on your week will be amazing. So just try it and see. It will definitely work. Or more than anything, even if it doesn't work, you know for sure what doesn't work for you and you can tweak it accordingly. Yes? So this is what, thank you so much for your responses, everyone. Um, yes. The last before the Q&A, yes, Vijay Kumar, time and management is not doing more, it's deciding what really deserves your attention, right? So now I'm open for questions. Now y'all can ask me any questions if y'all have. Yes, Dia, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yes. Now I will take some questions if y'all have any questions. Share the PPT. Usually we don't share the PPT because, it becomes a little difficult. But I don't know how to help you over here. I can speak to the team and see if we can share the PPT. Jeevita says, thank you. No, thank you for being a part of the webinar. It already shows that all of you have a growth mindset, so that's really good to know that, all of you want to make necessary changes to do your best, and that's all we can do. Yes, I will share it with your team. Vijay Kumar, generic. Yes, thank you very much. I got your name. Yes, I can see a lot of thank you. I hope this session was helpful. Again, there are many techniques. Choose one and be self-aware. Okay? That's very important. Yeah, very nice. And again, I would like to talk about this. This is the 10th webinar in a series of webinars that we're doing. So we do technical webinars as well and soft skills. I take care of the soft skills. Mr. Ishwaran from our team takes care of the technical webinars. So this is our 10th webinar. We have two more webinars to go, and we're hoping all of you could attend some of the other webinars and there's maximum efficiency because all we want to do is create some awareness and understanding as to how to deal with our daily life, right? And daily work life and not hate it. As very to very bluntly put it. There's no reason to hate it, right? If we have the right techniques, we can do our best, and that's what we want. All right. Um, yes. Thank you, Dr. Kavisa. If we don't have any more questions, I think we can end this webinar. And thank you again, all of you, for joining. It's amazing to see so many people who want to make a change. The next webinar you can follow our LinkedIn page and you will understand when a week in advance we will put out which webinar is coming. So you will know then. Biocon Academy is the page on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile, just look for Susan Alexander. I will just send in my name. So someone else also had asked in the beginning. Susan Alexander is my LinkedIn profile, and Biocon Academy is the LinkedIn profile that you will have to follow in order to know when the next webinar is. For this month, this is the webinar. Next month, you will get an update 1 week before the webinar happens. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ram. He has sent the LinkedIn profile. He is also from our team. Any other questions? If you don't have questions, I think we can wrap up the session. It was a pleasure talking to all of you. I hope there is some change in the future in terms of your time management. Thank you very much. See you all soon again.